Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever your time zone is. My name's Tony Graham.
I'm Christian.
We're here as part of our VodCast podcast thing, talking about drones. This is pretty much the first in this series, I guess. And as part of our, what would we call it? As part of our season,
Yes.
we're going to be building this over the time. Now, I know more or less what this is. This is an airplane. That's pretty much as far as I know what
It's more than just an airplane. It's a flying wing.
It's a flying wing. Okay, so there
Skywalker,
we go.
exactly.
We had actually gone through this stuff before, and I wanted to say let's pretend I actually was listening and understood what you were saying. But for myself and for all those people out there who are watching who don't know what these components are, I think what we need to do is sort of go through these components and talk about what we're going to be doing for the next.
Building it and what's the upsides, what's the downsides.
Exactly.
Of doing this.
So all right, let's start here on the left-hand side. Obviously, we've got the remote control, so we can. That's pretty self-explanatory.
We're going to use the new 30U 9XR for this one. Brilliant remote for doing whatever we need to do.
Okay, this is
great quality for money. It's just fabulous, this thing.
And it's got all the bells and whistles and the knobs and switches and all that sort of stuff.
And what's nice about it, we got the FreshCry DJT on this one. We are going to use the return to landing once the failsafe on this one. This one's got a very nice failsafe, this one.
So wait, return to landing basically means that we switch the thing on, it'll come back to us.
No, what happens is you fly or whatever, and then the remote dies.
Okay.
And then it just goes back to return to landing because.
Oh, and it just basically it goes back from wherever it is.
So when you're too far or anything, the radio doesn't pick it up. It comes back and says, "Hey, what's up?"
Well, what wonders of modern technology. All right, carrying on. So that's obviously the remote. Then we've got this, which I didn't manage to identify the last time, but I now see it's a propeller because it doesn't look like a propeller.
No.
Because it's all folded up and stuff. You don't normally see that. But obviously, what sort of propeller is this, and why are we using this one?
This is a foldable 12-inch prop.
Okay.
We're gonna put it back here as a pusher because this is a pusher plane.
Yeah.
Right? It's not of your conventional planes where the
propeller
is
in
in front.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to have this one at the back here, and what we're going to drive this with is a Turnigy aero drive. Let me just check here what it is. 500 kV 5045.
Okay. Can we take that out of the box and just have a look at it so everybody sort of knows?
It's quite a powerful motor. It's going to keep this thing very nice and steady in there.
Just all of those. There, that's what it looks like. It's a bit of a beast of a motor, would you say?
Yeah, just like an apple.
Yeah, there we go. Right. Okay. Moving on. We've got a digital servo, which I can read in the box there. I have no idea what does that actually do.
Okay, you get two different types of servos. You get digital and you get analog.
Okay. We're obviously going digital on this one.
Yes, we are going digital because what I found is that the analog gets a lot of jitters. When you put once you're here and right at your elevon, you get these jitters when you have these analog.
But the airlines basically just sit like that, and I mean you don't get a stable flight, particularly for this is used a lot of cases for mapping and things like that. And if you've got a bit of a jitter, it just stuffs everything up.
Yeah, your photos will be all over the show. So
okay, so we're going digital on that.
Digital and metal gear.
Okay.
So it's strong, it's fast, it's got high torque. I mean, it's what you want. Just pay a bit of extra money and get yourself digital servos.
Okay, but obviously when we put that in, we'll talk more about it and give all the specs and exactly why we get into that. Okay, cool, 100%. Now this, what is this? It looks like an arrow, but I know it's not.
It's called a peditube.
Okay.
Very static and dynamic.
Okay.
So it measures the airflow and it gives you an accurate speed.
And I'm assuming air pressure and all of that sort of stuff as well. Okay. So it tells you how and how fast basically.
Basically just how fast.
Oh, how fast. Okay, well that's perfect.
So what nice is we haven't received it yet, but in the post we've got an APM 2.6.
Okay.
With an external magnetometer and.
Okay, what does all that stuff do?
After the external magnetometer, they found out that having the magnetometer, it's like a compass. It's like you've got your iPhone or you've got the compass. Yeah. That's a magnetometer.
Okay, so basically it tells you which way the nose is pointing. Okay.
Showing which way you're pointing. So
okay, that's self-explanatory.
They found out putting the magnetometer outside of the APM gives it much less noise.
Okay, so that's why we've got a separate one. So
it's separate. So we're also getting one of these oaks.
Okay.
It's a U-Blox via GPS.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing technology going in there.
Okay, what is it? Okay, that's the GPS, obviously.
Yeah, that's the GPS.
That's like you'd find in your car, except this one will be up in the sky.
I'm sitting in my house and I can get 3D fix on this thing, like 9 satellites.
Jeez, okay. Well, and that'll obviously come in handy when we're flying things. Alright, and there's a board here. What does this board do?
Okay, this is one that people hasn't seen for a very long time. It's called a failsafe mux.
Okay, so obviously there's a failsafe, so if something goes wrong. But what is the mux?
The mux, It's just what it does is that you can switch between two controlling systems for your elevons.
Okay, so if the one fails, the other one will.
Yeah, for your elevons and your motor. So one fails, we can switch over to manual. So if something happens to the APM, a surge happens or something, and the APM dies up there, we can just switch it over and we're on manual mode on the receiver.
Okay, and why haven't we seen this for a while? I'm assuming it's not used very often anymore?
Well, the APM is so well designed, so there's no real occurrences.
Need it, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it just because you know what? Like you should really. I mean, if you're flying these machines, they're not cheap. They're not cheap.
Yeah, you don't want your stuff crashing somewhere.
Exactly. So we're going to put in fail-safes, and if I remember correctly, you said we're going to put in fail-safes all over the show.
Yes. This is our another fail-safe.
Okay. What is that? Because that looks.
This is our dual battery system.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is with this one. It takes out spikes. It's a controller, a twin big 8.
Okay.
It gives us 5.9 volts.
Okay.
On 8 amp, which is ample. So we're going to power.
So basically, that's one battery, and then obviously if that one fails or something should happen, so that one's the backup and sort of takes over.
It takes over, you know.
Okay.
So this receiver is going to have his own power supply, and the APM is going to have his own power supply. Okay.
Perfect. So if anything goes wrong, that'll sort it out. Okay, what is this then?
This
that
thing
looks
is
also
called
quite fancy.
ESC. This is just a 70 amp ESC. I like to have a big ESCs in these planes, you know.
Okay, but what does that do? Does that obviously
that's just power. That tells the motor
how much power. Okay.
How fast the motor goes, not how power, because it's just basically how fast this motor must turn.
And then obviously we've got these. Now these are pretty self-explanatory. These obviously stabilize the wings, but like we were chatting the last time, I believe it goes that way around. Like we were chatting the last time, these things.
Not enough.
Not enough. We were looking, if I remember correctly, looking here. Now this is obviously balsa wood, so this is hell of a light, and I mean it's a 2-year-old could snap that.
Yes, and I mean we're going to reinforce this because they want us to put these big wings on
something like that. It's not going to work. So we're going to we're going to get some plywood and
build some proper ones, you know.
Okay, cool.
And then reinforce this whole wings. We're going to go reinforcing these wings with carbon fiber and
just for strength, because after all, you were saying that the one failing of this one in particular is that when you go fast enough, the wings tend to bend up. So obviously we want to limit that as much as we can.
Yes.
All right. Moving on. I think we've covered all the stuff on this side.
What we're also going to do is reinforce the motor mount. Well, we've got this apple of a motor on this little piece of wood.
Yeah, it's not going to work. So again, we're going to put some plywood.
So we're going to upgrade this little oak as well.
Okay, cool. And then obviously we've got aerials. Now we've got 2 separate aerials there. Just explain the difference between them.
These are just the 3DR 400 megahertz communicators between the plane and the ground station.
Okay.
So we're always going to know on the ground station what the plane is doing.
Okay.
Because they've written some amazing software just to have seen what this is doing in the air, you know, what speed you're flying, what the altitude you're flying, and it's just
so basically just sends everything back to the ground to let you know what's going on.
Yes.
I mean, what is that little?
That's just the receiver we're going to use.
Okay, now if I'm not mistaken, this is for all the video. Is this not? No.
This is just a receiver to communicate with the radio.
We did have a video one at one stage.
Yes, I think
floating around somewhere.
Yes,
all right, so this is the receiver. This just receives all the commands basically from here and translates them to what's going on.
What do we need?
Okay, and then we don't know where it is now, but we did have a video receiver as well. For 3, it was a three video receiver.
Yeah, so we can have 3 cameras on you and see what three sides are doing, and
which is very cool. So you can have one in front, one on top, one at the bottom.
And you can just switch on your radio between
all of them.
Yes.
Right. So I think that covers pretty much everything that we're going to be adding. There is more stuff coming. It's in the post. I think some of the stuff is in customs. Unfortunately, here at the tip of Africa, stuff does take a while to get to us. But we'll obviously be putting that in here. We'll obviously be reinforcing the plane, fiberglassing it.
And we'll be documenting all of it.
All of it. We'll give it a nice paint job.
What nice is about this thing, if any beginners is out there and they follow our VodCast, they will
be able to do this themselves.
Yeah, do this themselves, and they will know the tips and tricks. And
know exactly what each little thing is as well. And then we've also got interviews scheduled. Those will be coming up at some stage as well. Who we got?
Nice guys from TechPod.
And
then we got the guys from RVG.
And then off camera goes a fun. And then obviously we've got more lined up. We're going to do things a little bit differently for those of you who are tuning in for the first time. It's not just about asking questions and getting answers. We want to have a conversation. So it's going to be interesting. We want to find out how people got into this line of into this hobby.
And you can log on the VodCast
Yeah.
and then ask these guys questions as well, what you want.
Yeah, obviously it's going to all be live, depending on your time zone. We're going to try and make it so at least most of the northern hemisphere and the States will be able to tune into us. Hopefully we won't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and hopefully you won't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But we'll try and get it maybe 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, somewhere around there. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll get the best time.
And then we'll chat to you next time. Great. Thanks, Christian.
Thanks.